Hi, I'm Antonio Mora, an evening news anchor at Al Jazeera America and a proud resident of South Florida. All through the month of March, Miami-Dade College will present dozens of exciting, informative, and fun events in honor of Women's History Month. The events are free and open to the community. They will take place at several MDC campuses throughout the county. Women's History Month at MDC aims to inspire, raise awareness, and spark conversations about the profound impact women have made throughout the world in fields as varied as human rights, science, literature, film, business, sports, politics, music, and art. James Pierre sat down with the chair of the Women's History Month Committee, Josette Pete.
Thank you so much, Josette Pete, for joining us. I know you, the co-chair of the Women's History Month Committee here at Miami-Dade College, and especially the North Campus. Let's start with the theme of this year. What is it about?
The theme of Women's History Month this year is weaving the stories of women's lives.
So it's around the theme that the committee will organize a range of activities for the month of March?
Yes, and this is a national theme.
Okay.
And so all our activities will be surrounding that theme. It's fairly easy to do because women's influence in our lives are so all-encompassing that it's pretty easy to do. What we've done here on the North Campus is ensure that the events actually represent some of our learning outcomes. And learning outcomes 5 and 6 are the two that are most often represented, and those are diverse cultures and personal civic social responsibility. But of course, communications, outcome 1, is also present.
Wonderful. There's something special coming. Miss Gordon,
Yes.
Claudia Gordon, I really admire her. Tell me about her presentation that she has, upcoming event.
Claudia Gordon is a really special woman. Her story is quite inspiring. She was born in Jamaica. She came to the United States when she was about 9 years old. She is special in that she is the first deaf African-American attorney that we know of that graduated from American University. Among her career activities is that she has worked as part of the White House policy advisor in matters of disability, and she is currently Chief of Staff for the Department of Labor's Office of Federal Contract Compliance Programs. And so her whole her own personal story flows into her career, where her interest in championing the rights of people with disabilities, I think she is very, very able to do so because of her own story. Very inspiring story, and we're looking forward to having her here.
Absolutely, it's an honor to have her, but also that event is open to the community, so it's not only for students, right?
It is absolutely open, and we're hoping that members of the community or public school students, organizations that cater to deaf clients, that the community as a whole will come.
Wow. Tell me more about some other activities. I know, the committee has a range of activities that are planning. We have arts, we have music, we have history.
Yes, the events of the month touch on a variety of areas. On the same day that we have the opening ceremony, there's another large event on campus that deals with food insufficiency, which, as you know, is a huge problem in our community. And then we have events that touch on journalism. We will be having Ms. Belkis Nere of Channel 7 as one of our speakers on another day. And we will have sessions that deal with law. We will have sessions that deal with art, with history, and the range that you could think of. We will have those sessions, and so we think our students and the community at large will really benefit from attending these events.
Yeah. And the committee, the Women's History Month Committee, is a huge committee. You're talking about more than 30 members?
It is a huge committee. I think we are 32 members.
Wow.
And we are drawn from various facets of the campus. There are faculty members, there are staff members from a variety of departments, a couple of chairpersons, So it is Miami-Dade North Campus fully represented.
Wow, wow. Women is the center of our community, very important. But please remind us, why is it important to celebrate Women's History Month? I mean, for me, I think it should be celebrating every single day. But why is it so important to celebrate that in March?
Well, you're right. It's a daily celebration of women's lives. We are the mothers, we are the teachers, we are the lawyers, we are the construction workers, we are everything. But just to help the community have a time when we focus exclusively. In the same way that Black History Month, we should be all year long celebrating the achievements of the African American community, but we have a month in which we focus our energies in that direction. The same thing happens with Women's History Month. But the idea is, having spent a month focusing, then that should flow over into our attitudes and our activities throughout the year. So we should not, at the end of March, cut off our focus and our admiration for the inspiration of women.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Tell our viewers right now, if they late and want to join, if they want to be part of the different activities that they're going to do, is there a contact number? Is there a point of information? Is there a website? I know they can go to mdc.edu to learn more.
They can go to mdc.edu. We have that monthly calendar of events. An important factor to note too about the opening ceremony is that we will have accommodations and services for those who have disabilities. Specifically, there'll be interpreters, because Dr. Gordon herself is deaf, and therefore we will have sign language interpreters to interpret the
help
situation.
Them get the message. Wow, wonderful. And I'm waiting for the food presentation, to learn more about that in our community.
Well, absolutely. There will be, I hope, in our community, a greater awareness. And this is what we really hope for, greater awareness, not just of women for this month, but women in general, the roles we play, and how, as the theme says, weaving the stories of women's lives, how in every aspect, every facet of our society, women's influences are just so important and so significant.
Wow. What a pleasure having you on set with us, Joseph. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm looking forward to learn more of different activities that the Women's History Month Committee is putting together for the whole month. Thank you.
It's been my pleasure.
Thank you. Stay with us. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back for more.
Miami-Dade College is a great college.
It changed my life. Miami-Dade is really like a family. They really embrace the students. They really have a way of making you feel wanted, making you feel loved, making you feel that you could really do what you desire to do.
I'm very happy that I came to Miami-Dade College North. Wonderful faculty, wonderful advisors. I feel speechless because they're so good at what they do. I feel that students should not give up. They should become someone. They should be in a major that they love.
And Miami-Dade really, has made a huge impact on my life for the better.
I feel that everyone should do that. Everyone should take that extra step and continue their education. Come here to Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade is great.
Far too many women and girls live in fear day in and day out. The World Health Organization reports that 1 in 3 women worldwide experiences physical or sexual violence. In some countries, that rate jumps to 70%. So we want to highlight that particular issue during the celebration of Women's History Month. We invited MDC North Campus Assistant Chief Stephanie Fernandez and journalist Dinkanish O'Connor to analyze a brutal attack against a civil rights activist.
The whole thing started with a simple argument about wanting to talk. And by then we were not in a relationship, and I didn't feel like I needed to sit and talk about a relationship that was non-existent. So a fight broke out the night before the actual incident, and the police came over. They did advise me to leave my home Again, as a victim, you're afraid that you're going to be judged and people are going to talk about you. So I didn't feel the need to leave my home and trying to find comfort elsewhere. I was afraid of being judged, so I stayed. 5 o'clock in the morning, March 16th of 2002, that's when I heard a loud boom through my door, and it was him coming at me with a knife. Took off running from the living room to the room, followed me into the room, into the bathroom, threw me in a tub, and just started stabbing me. And took the phone, cut the plugs, and took off. So I was left in that tub to fight for my life, screaming, no one could hear you. It was tough. Screaming on top of my tongue, there was no one there but God.
What a story by Maggie Blaze, and wow, I'm very, very happy that she was able to tell me that story. And she's still involved in the community doing different activities, helping other women with domestic violence. What is your take on that, Deaconess?
I mean, it is horrifying to know that in the United States of America, a woman can suffer that type of mutilation by your partner. I don't think that there's any way to acclimate to that story. And it's such a ubiquitous story, right? I mean, we've heard stories of domestic violence over and over and over again, yet you can never get comfortable with that story. The idea of a partner charging at you, taking you into a bathroom, throwing you into a tub, and stabbing you to the point where you have lost your right kidney. Honestly, all I can say is she said something powerful. She said nobody was there but God, and I don't think there's anything else to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And Stephanie, Assistant Chief at Miami-Dade College North Campus, thank you so much for being here. A story like that, how you digest that?
Well, first to begin, domestic violence. When I hear domestic violence, it's something that I think of sometimes, most of the time, many times it's kept a secret.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in this case, I believe it has been a secret for a long time. And it seems like it escalated. Obviously, in the beginning, it said from verbal to physical. Many cases, unfortunately, start off verbally, but certain signs that the male shows. But sometimes the women are so in love with the man that they can't seem to let go or move on or tell anybody of exactly what's occurring in their home. Sad to say, if there's children involved, the children do end up getting in the mix of it all, and And for this case, we're lucky that she survived, because we would hate to hear of a mother dying and their children, have to now live without a parent because of what their father did, and their father is probably going to go to jail for it.
Yeah. It's very important you mention words, because sometimes we think violence is more physical. Sometimes some words hurt more than anything else, right?
Absolutely. I think that even when it doesn't go to the extremity of being stabbed, you're in a relationship, you're dating, and you do get these warning signs. But as the officer just said so profoundly, you're so in love, you're so hypnotized by certain characteristics that you deem important in a partner, and you sort of, you kind of, you're already covering up for that behavior even before it evolves. So I do think that oftentimes domestic violence, it begins as a seed, and then it grows into something.
We are celebrating Women's History Month. It is really a platform to talk about women, what is happening, but also solution. You are very involved for more than a decade. You've been training women, self-defense program. Tell me more about that, Stephanie.
Okay, the program I teach is called SAFE. Keyword is SAFE. Stands for Self-Defense, Awareness, Familiarization, Exchange. And it's a 2-hour class. First hour focuses on educational part, awareness, crime prevention, and then the second hour is technique, physical technique, no contact, which teaches women how to kind of be aware and prevent, obviously, any attack, to pretty much stop violence against women. But also, if they were to encounter an attack, how to get out of it and what to do. And the ages vary, so even if it's a child or an elderly female, I definitely put in work to help them also learn how to get out of an attack if they were to encounter one.
And it's all background. It doesn't matter if it's African American, white, Hispanic,
Right.
age. So
Yes.
they are welcome for.
Yes, no, it's for everybody. I've been teaching, like you said, over a decade, and I've been teaching mainly college-age females because once they leave the home at 18 years old, they're kind of still somewhat immature, you know, and they're kind of new to the world. So when they're out there alone, I try to teach them that they can only rely on themselves. And as the female in the video, she said there was no one there but God. And that's exactly what I teach in my class, is that they have to rely on themselves because there might be no one else around to help them in any situation. It could be not only domestic violence, but it could be out in the parking lot, just shopping, anywhere any crime can happen.
Vulnerability is a very interesting word. Do you feel that if Maggie Blaze had any type of self-defense program or techniques that would help her at least during that altercation with a gentleman?
You know, again, when I think of, you know, an intimate partner being an enemy, I can't speak for her, but what I'm thinking is if I'm with somebody, even if we've had some very dark situations, I don't think you can fathom with your natural mind that this person could really turn around and take your life.
Yeah.
So I think that
There should be a limit.
I think that there's a shock level. So even if you're equipped with the knowledge of what to do, I think the trauma of processing what is actually happening can kind of delay your ability to actually implement those techniques that you have learned. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's definitely a decision that it's up to the person. It's pretty much give in or get out. They have to think to themselves, what are they going to do in this situation? They're going to either, you know, put their wall down and allow this person to do them, or they're going to stand up and try to fight back and try to get away. Of course, unfortunately, that's not always the case, and opportunity to get away is not always there. Could anger the person even more, the abuser, and could make the situation worse. So they have to, case-by-case basis, and make that decision. And that's why I try to focus on not waiting till it's too late to make a decision and act. Kind of stop it from the beginning. Once you see those signs, you know.
You need to know that it's gonna get worse and worse, so you have to get out. But your program, your training program, self-defense, saved lives. You know, I mean, you had a wonderful story of
yes, of
one
course.
of the participants.
Like I stated earlier, most of the females I've taught were ages 18 to elderly. I was asked by Miami-Dade Police Department to do a class for Girl Scouts of our, I think it was Liberty City area actually. And so I said, sure. It was my first time teaching ages 6 to 15. So, okay, I said, sure, no problem. You know, I love to teach, so, you know, okay. So I did. About 2 months later, I got a call back from Miami-Dade Police Department and stated that one of the 6-year-olds had an abduction attempt. And she got away by using what I taught her. So, of course, that motivated me. I was happy. The parents were thanking me. And it just felt good inside to know that this program really does work. And being, you know, able to, that this little girl, we don't know what could have happened to her, and using that knowledge, you know, so obviously everything happens for a reason. I was there at that time to teach her, you know, 2 months prior, and it worked out, and I'm very happy, and it's something I'll remember my whole life.
Wow, wonderful.
That's
I want to thank you for your service. Thank you so very much,
thank you
Stephanie
for having
Fernandez,
me.
Assistant Chief here at
Thank you.
Miami-Dade College North Campus, and as well, Deaconess, you're going to join us in the last segment, so stay with us.
Okay.
We'll be right back after the commercial break.
education and opportunity within reach. You're watching MDC-TV.
More than 50 years ago, American civil rights activists were inspired to help women facing violence, marginalization, and poverty as a result of war and conflict. But in 2015, women's rights are still an important issue with many challenges. Many organizations continue to advocate ensuring that women and their families can enjoy the access and benefits they deserve and have the ability to contribute as full members of society. James Pierre asked his guests for their perspective on women in today's global society.
Thank you so much for being here. I will start with you, Alice. Women is the center of our society, and we know the role that women play, and especially this month of March, we are celebrating Women's Month. Tell me your perspective of women in the modern society, especially in the United States.
Well, you know, I don't know if you've heard the old adage, when you heal a woman, you heal her family. When you heal her family, you heal a community. When you heal a community, you heal the world. And women do play such a vital role on that healing process. One, because we are composed of a lot of compassion. We look at things differently. And because of that, we go about becoming so involved in the issues of the modern society.
Yes,
so.
Absolutely. I mean, talking about involvement, we know now we have more women getting involved in the workforce, more women into education. Suze, you're a mother. Would you say that women is still playing a vital role in our society?
Of course they are. It's important to realize that, especially mothers where they don't have the fathers around, they have to be that person that's there for that son or daughter. And regardless of them being in that situation, they have to heal. And either if they're healing themselves or someone is healing them, they still got to get through that obstacle. So they got to keep it going, got to keep moving forward. Because if you continue to think about what happened to you or what happened to you, your child is going to be affected by that. So you got to think about your environment and who's around you, because that energy will go around.
Yeah. Yeah. Dekanish, you as a journalist, you covered many stories, and you've heard a lot of them. You have one-on-one interviews with women. What is your perspective on women in modern society?
I mean, it's just fascinating to see, particularly women of color, evolve in our place in society. I can remember when we were the underdogs of beauty. I can remember when it was just all about the Christy Brinkleys and the Barbara Walters, and you couldn't even fathom an Oprah Winfrey, type of figure. So it's just interesting to see women of color in particular evolving in various types of leadership positions, whether they're starring in reality television shows or getting Oscars for critically acclaimed movies or taking on leadership positions in academia.
Yeah. So will you all agree that we've made progress from 1960 to 2015? We are right now. We making progress when it comes to women's rights, women's getting more work, women getting more education. Go ahead, Suze.
I just think that we just still have a long way to go. A lot of people are silent by things that happen to them in their lives, whether it's rape, domestic violence, and there's so much to overcome and to get through. And whether they're in that position, just know that they're a public figure, but they still got a lot that they're going through. So whether they're on that show to make money or they got a mouth to feed. So we have to think about that woman in that situation, but we have a long way to go.
We still have a long way to go. You believe that?
Absolutely. I think that we are as far forward as we are backward. I think that to some degree, sometimes we misunderstand freedom, and when you misunderstand freedom, especially in a society that pimps promiscuity and pimps this illusion that the less standards you have, the less goals you set for yourself, the less inhibitions you have, the freer you are. There's this confusion that happens, and so you end up objectifying yourself without even realizing it.
I like the idea of using the word freedom, because I want to take you to watch that video. What happened in Peru? Three couples getting married in Valentine's Day, and you will see what happened. Does that child, I will call, I mean, she's just 21 the same day, does she has what we call the freedom to make decisions? Let's watch.
Solange Anabel Monja Gaonal, ¿persiste usted en contraer matrimonio con José Marco Antonio Salazar Alemán?
She has no response whatsoever. And look at the body language of the gentleman. And this is just outside. And look at the mother now walked in a shot. This is the mother walked in now, telling her, what is going on with you? You know, you need to say yes. So the mother is telling her what to do. And now we barely can hear what she's saying, but I guess, there we go. And the mother says, yes, yes. She said yes. And now they are getting married. Alice, I was watching your reaction watching that video. What is your take on that?
You know, you use the word freedom, and that has so much meaning and such an impact because on the one hand, was she free to choose? Yeah. You know, and it came across so naturally that she was not. So is she being true and authentic to who she really is? And that's the illusion that we oftentimes become enmeshed in, because freedom is not really that freedom. So even earlier when you spoke about making progress, it depends on who's defining what progress really is. Yeah. And again, our roles are just so our role as women are so dynamic to the thread of society that until we really take that voice, and I don't mean in terms of being the women's lib or the whatever, that plays a role, but at the same time to really be true to who and what we really are, yeah. You know.
Susie, you're a mother. We saw during the video the mother literally telling her, oh, you better say yes. You know, yes is the right answer. So what is your take on that?
I think that's the problem with our society. We want so much control over things that's ours, right? Even in history, we want control, but sometimes it's taken away from you. We don't know what the mom went through. And sometimes we never reflect to see, okay, what happened to that mother? Why is she so pushy? Why is she making this girl do something? It's like women are taken away from wars. I truly believe if they would allow more women to be in battles and fight more and make decisions, we would be winning more wars. And this is just a personal opinion.
But what was it really about the mother? I mean, that was literally her day, not the mother's day, you know, to choose who I want to spend the rest of my life with, right?
I think that you said a very powerful thing. It's important to know the backstory. Mm-hmm. I don't know the backstory of these women living in Peru. I've had the privilege and honor of living in a culture that allows me the freedom to choose. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is to live in poverty. I've observed poverty. So I would really have to have more information. But what it does for me as a woman living in America is it helps me to appreciate the freedoms that I so often take for granted, that I think we all take for granted, and to really analyze my place as a communications professional. You know, what can I do on this side of the world to help women feel more freedom, experience more freedom, whether it's and it's not necessarily an external thing. I think it begins here.
Yeah. You know, but it's clear she was under pressure to get married.
Absolutely.
Would you all agree?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And that should, in 2015, that is something that is against women's rights.
But I think you're talking about culture.
Yeah, culture. I really would have to know more about, maybe they are in a, very extreme situation of poverty. Maybe there's violence at the home where she is right now. Maybe she's being raped by her dad. I mean, we don't know because unfortunately, stories of young women, much younger than this one, 21. This is sort of an ongoing story. This is not new. Yeah. Women are constantly in different countries, from India to Afghanistan. We know of women being forced into predicaments where they're being married. But I think it's important to know.
Before you, I interviewed Assistant Chief Stephanie Fernandez, talking about all the work that she's been doing in the community for more than 10 years, how to empower women, self-defense program, and I think that's very important also to help women, being able to take control of where they want to go as far as protecting the rights. But going back to that video, Suze, I strongly believe, even if despite what happened in the past, that shouldn't be the right decision from her mother to tell the child, okay, this is it, you need to get married.
Right, and that's how we feel in America. If that's something that's happening here, we watch a video like that's from the U.S., we would think like, what did the mom think she's doing telling her to get married? But it's from another country. You don't know the backstory and you don't know what it is. Yes, I feel like the girl's rights were taken away from her.
But I think also in light of that, when you look at certain cultures, even here in America, you still have a system where marriage between races, and not to just harp on a racist issue, but you may have blacks who don't want anyone to marry outside of their race. You may have whites who don't want anyone to marry. So you're talking about a cultural perspective, but at the same time, there are still issues that are prevalent here in this country that we must address.
Okay, wonderful.
And that's where the women empowerment
comes in. Okay, I know my producer's letting me know that we're running out of time, but I want to take you from Peru to Brazil.
Okay.
The same thing gonna happen, but the women will have a different reaction. Let's watch.
Thank you.
This is in Brazil. More than 3,000 people coming for the wedding. This is again another couple. They are getting married, and look closely what's gonna happen here, which is different from what happened in Peru. And there we go, she's walking away. So now we see clearly the difference. She said no. She said no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get married. So is it still culture, or is it more now the rights? Dekanish.
I stand by this firmly. I would have to know more about the situation, but it is, it's good to see a woman be able to walk away. I feel for the gentleman who is left behind. Could she have done this before the money was spent? I'm assuming this is a middle-class family. Maybe a lot of money was spent to put this production on. Could she have done this before?
Okay. What was it? Humiliation as well for the man?
Now, what I think is not a lot of women make it out of those situations. You say no. In some cultures, you're going down.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Like a beat down.
Yeah,
yeah.
And people actually come after you for that. But for her to stand up for her rights, I commend her. I truly commend her.
Yeah.
I just think that there are the dynamics of that. It is very powerful for her to say no and stand by that decision of no. And at the same time, when we look at even other cultures as to why we choose as best we can what's best for our children. And I think that's also kind of plays into, to some degree.
Yeah.
Maybe the mother, the parents, or whoever chose this gentleman for the young lady because they saw a brighter future. You want to look at it in that perspective, but again, you don't know the backdrop as
interesting conversation. Stay with us. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I know you all are very involved in the community, different activities. I want to talk about that, but we're going to take a quick break. You're watching Perspective. James, Pierre will be right back.
Cool programs for hot jobs. Let Miami-Dade College jumpstart your career. We offer bachelor's degrees in film and TV production, nursing, electronics engineering, information systems technology, supervision and management, supply chain management, or choose from 300 other programs to study. You can take classes during the day, evening, weekend, or online. For more info, visit MDC.edu or call 305-237-8888. Get the knowledge and training for today's in-demand jobs. Register now. Miami-Dade College.
Welcome back. Now I want to talk about your involvement in the community. I know you all are doing exciting work in the community, and I want my viewers to learn more. Alice, I know you are very deep into food, changing. We have to go back to the kitchen.
Yes.
Tell me more about your activities.
Yes. Transition Kitchen is the name of the organization that I've created to, one, bring families first back together from the kitchen standpoint. We need to, as a family unit, come back together. We are losing our children for so many reasons. It's because we want that touch, that family touch, so that they can go on living more productive lives. Our children are hurting, our families are hurting, and one way to do that, when you think about food and you're sitting there eating, all you do is just feel the love, and that's what Transition Kitchen. But we work in the community too to help create awareness about the importance of eating a healthier lifestyle. We've got to kind of get away from a lot of the things that we've grown up with and get back to nature. We need to start planting more foods. I always talk about eating greens. Green is life,
It's
so
very important to eat
those
healthy, and also, cooking together,
Yes.
meaning we're going to eat together, so we
Yes.
keep the family together. That's very
Absolutely, and
important.
bring our children back into the kitchen because they've lost that. Make it fun. I don't mean just to put that whip over them while they're standing there with mommy, but
Wow.
to enjoy the process.
Tell
of
me about your
family.
special juice. I know you
My
put some juice
special
together.
juice, Absolutely. I love these green juices. And one of the things that I'm big on when I tell people about transitioning to a more healthier lifestyle, because health is really about a lifestyle, a change in your lifestyle, is to make the green smoothie. We all know about the green smoothie, and you just take something green, make it a green milkshake, if you will, where you take maybe some almond milk, bananas, and spinach. Pop it in that
And it's not
blender.
taking a lot of time to
It's
do.
not taking any time. And just gulp it down, and guess what? You've eaten raw spinach, your banana is not cooked, and you have almond milk and not necessarily dairy. So wonderful way
I'm
to start.
already hungry now.
There you
I
go.
have to start that conversation to go back to books. So you are very passionate about helping the community. A lot of activities that you do. One of them is here at Miami-Dade College North Campus, Aspire to Inspire. Tell me more about that.
Well, Aspire to Inspire is more to get students to think outside of their major that they think they want to do, and letting them know that what you start off with is not always what you end up with. You may say you want to be an architect and you end up doing something totally different, like myself. I was in journalism and communication and theater, and now I'm advising college students on what to do. And it's not about course selections anymore. It's about what is it to get that student to graduation and get them to that university that they want to go to. So that's a part of Aspire to Inspire.
And you have a lot of keynote speakers coming in,
A great deal
people
of
involved in
them,
the community.
so many of them. I've met so many people. Actually, there's one person that I met a couple of weeks ago that's helping me with a project in Haiti. And it's just building that connection and networking. And you can just easily call that person and, they might not charge you. But, they're still, but you have that relationship and you network so that they can help you see something that you didn't see before.
The idea of helping the community and also broadcast the information, so we see our true identity as women in the modern society. You have a web series coming in. Tell me more about that.
My web series is called American Woman, and it's a very unfiltered discussion between me and the internet global village to discuss issues that are impacting women who live in America, issues that shape our lives, whether it be from sexuality to spirituality to what we eat. So I'm really excited about it, and it's going to launch March 15th.
And you feel that is very important, that to have another voice to the voiceless in a way for our community. We were talking about how we portray women in TV and music videos and all of the other platforms. So you feel it's very important to show the other angle of the story?
I just want us to have an honest discussion about the decisions that we're making as women living in America. How are we using our freedom? How are we misusing our freedom? What is our general understanding of freedom based on the decisions that we make? So it's really just about having that discussion and addressing the issues that are plaguing our society, like our inabilities to create and maintain intimate relationships, the inability to raise our children. Guys, so many children, they have mothers who are professionals, who are sharp. I mean, the resumes are glistening, but they don't know how to guide them. You know, and I think that it's time to have these discussions so we can be a blessing to one another and build each other up as women living in America.
Absolutely. Suze, you are working on a wonderful project. You give us the scoop. I know you're working on a book. Tell me about that more.
Actually, there's several books. I remember what you said about time, and I realized when you spend time with your children, how much of a difference that can make. And my son is actually working on his book. He's only 4 years old, and I'm helping him.
And he's a writer already.
And he's already a writer, and that comes from spending time with him and reading. We have to take it back to the kitchen, but we have to also open up that book with the children. And from that, for his 5th birthday, he said, "Mommy, I want to go to the White House." I'm like, who asks to go to the White House at the age of 4?
Yeah.
Adults don't see that until they get older. So you allow children to use their imagination so that they're not behind. It starts at home. It's the parents. And the other book that I'm working on is a women empowerment book, but it's more of single women that do not have the dad around. You can't let things that happen to you in your past predict your future. You got to move. And to move on, it's a journey and a transition. It's not going to be easy, but you have to remember that child is around. So that energy that you're sending to them, they will get it. And you don't want them to go out on the street with that.
Absolutely.
I think part of that process also has to be, I spoke earlier about women's lib, and we've got to get away from competing. We should not be in a society where women are competing against men and the whole 9 yards there. There is an integral process by which we all come together, both from a masculine as well as a feminine perspective. And while you alluded to the women who have the high-powered jobs, but yet when they come home, they don't know how to interact with the children. You know, we must learn to balance. And it is a process because we had to go from fighting for freedom to having had it to some degree, and now what do we do with it? How do we bring that back?
Exactly.
And stop harboring on the strength that I'm this, and yet to feel the softness of who we are, you know, in our role as women.
Exactly.
You know, to embrace that. And I don't feel as though we need an excuse to say I'm soft. I'm strong intellectually, but I'm soft. I'm a woman, you know, and to embrace that position.
That's right.
Yeah. It's very great to have, involvement of women in our society because, like I said so many times during that show, you are the center of our society. You know, my mother is the center of my life and so on. So I think it's very important to see you all getting involved in different platforms in our community. And we need to praise more women to keep on doing that.
Thank you.
Know.
We
Thank
agree.
you all.
We agree. We agree.
Wonderful conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank
and happy Women's History Month to all of you and to all of our viewers as well watching the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Perspective. My name is James Pierre. We'll see you next time.